Creative Aging with Maturity and Its Muse, next on City Corner. Hi, I'm Sarah Thompson, and welcome to City Corner. Today we're going to be talking about creative aging. I mean, we're all aging in some respects or the other, but the focus now is to age more productively and positively than generations before us. So how do you do that? Through the arts. And today we're going to talk about this idea of creative aging with Lynn Friedman Hamilton. She is the founder and executive director of Maturity and Its Muse, and you're going to tell me about this organization and how it fits into this whole idea of creative aging and aging through the arts.
I'm so happy to tell you about it. And I'd like to start by talking a little bit about creative aging itself and how it actually got started. There was a gentleman in Washington, D.C., Dr. Gene Cohn, who came up with the whole idea of the arts and creativity going together and helping older people. As a matter of fact, one of his favorite quotes is, "The arts are like chocolate for the brain," which I think is so special and so important, and he really left his mark on the creative aging community. So is it aging creatively, or is it creatively aging? I'm never sure which is what one wants to do, and maybe one wants to do both, because there's a little bit of a different slant on each thing. But my organization, Maturity and Its Muse, has its mission statement to promote positive and productive aging through the arts. And it is, from what I've observed, from what people have observed, TED Talk, you name it, it's a hot topic now, because people are getting so much older so much faster. We have this huge group of people that are at the age of aging, and that age can change. It depends on who you talk to, what you might think is the age. Is it 65, which is for Social Security? Is it the age that AARP defines? Where is it that it happens that people become older? And when I started getting involved in this field, I was 65, and the first event that I got involved in was for artists, and it was called Maturity and Its Muse, but I wanted St. Louis artists, and I wanted to show older St. Louis artists. And I thought, well, 65, that's no great thing, because I'm 65.
That's not old. No.
So it's not old. You know, I'm still a kid. So I started making a list, and I came up with about 60 well-known St. Louis artists who were over the age of 70. So that is what I decided was a mature person and someone that was aging. Of course, now I'm over 70, so now I think I'm going to have to change the bar again and maybe make it 80.
I mean, I think a lot of, when you think about older adults, and I mean, just as a society, the idea that people talk about is the older we get, we tend to, it's almost as if you become more invisible. It's sort of, we have such a worship on youth that once you hit 60, 65, you're still just as relevant. You're still that same person, but somehow society sort of pushes you off. And if you're an artist, the work that you do somehow, unless you're, you know, this icon, the work that you do somehow, it doesn't have value. Or the older you get, that somehow your life, the meaning. And so I think when we talk about integrating the arts with as you age, it's really to help, is it not, tell me, is it to sort of redefine what it is to age and to be more positive and productive about that?
Well, I think it is redefining what aging is and redefining how we age and what we do during our aging years. But at the same time, I think your thoughts about people becoming invisible is very, very relevant, and it's unfortunate, and that's one of the things that Maturity and Its Muse tries desperately to reach out to people in our community who, for one way or another, become invisible. They're marginalized, they're underserved, they don't get around as much as they have before, they don't have the funds to do a lot of things, and those are people that I like to see how I can reach them and how I can offer them opportunities to come be entertained and share some joy with other people.
Right. So the program and services of Maturity and Its Muse are both sort of highlighting artists who are older adults, but also getting older adults involved in the arts. And you do some of that through, you have a very large list of partners in the community. And we have some photos that we're going to take a look at as we talk through that. So tell me about how you've reached out to sort of your partner organizations and some of the things you do.
One of the ones that I think would fit in really nicely now with this part of the conversation is the Silver Stages, which is a program that I partner with the Missouri History Museum on. And we have 8 months of the year, once a month, we have what we call the Silver Stages, and the tagline is Mature St. Louis Performers for Mature St. Louis Audiences. And it is held in the E. Desmond Lee Auditorium. There are loads of groups of troops of people in the community that love to perform. They tap dance, they sing, they do all sorts of things. There's a baton twirler. You would be amazed at the talents that these people keep up with, and they adore sharing it with other people. Sometimes they do go to nursing home facilities and perform there, but very rarely will one of those kinds of facilities have a stage. So the idea that they can come and be on the stage at the History Museum with a wonderful sound system is thrilling to them.
Right, and these are people who've probably never been in the performing arts before. I mean, they're developing a whole new, essentially, like skill set, talent
They love
set.
it, and then we have a lot of people that come from retirement communities, memory care centers, that come and watch them perform. So we can have a couple of hundred people in the auditorium, and the interchange between the audience and the folks on the stage is just wonderful to see. And you know that some of these people in the audience are unable to, they're in wheelchairs, they're not able to move parts of their body, but I can tell by looking at them that inside they're dancing, and it's just a joy.
You mentioned when we started the comment about chocolate. Chocolate is the analogy with chocolate and how arts is to the brain for older adults. I mean, what do you see and what does research say about the benefits of, as you age, being involved in the arts, both as someone, as a patron, but also someone who's performing or doing an art?
Well, I think research is coming out to say that it can prolong the time you might get dementia. There are a lot of things that if you keep moving, it might help if you were prone to having Parkinson's. There are quite a number of studies about different types of illnesses that being connected, being engaged can help with. And I like to think that it's just plain your happiness, and if you're happy, you don't have as many aches and pains because you're not dwelling on them. I love that.
And yeah, lifting your mood is one thing, and you mentioned something to me earlier off camera about even with couples, kind of you're saying with married couples, whether if you're widowed or not, or divorced or not, but even couples can find something that they have in common that they didn't even think about.
Well, they didn't have the opportunity because they were so busy, just like we were talking about our lives now, with raising families, putting food on the table, doing everything that they needed to do, even for their own parents, that there was no time to stop and smell the roses. So retirement years come, and if they can stop and smell the roses, either by gardening or something, it's cool if they can share something together, because sometimes I think that marriages, people tend to go various directions after a while, and this, I've seen it brings people back together.
So how did you have a background in the arts and
in chocolate.
Background in arts and in chocolate with the visual arts. So how did you sort of take this idea and really the momentum to move it into a fully fledged nonprofit organization?
Little by little. I started with a show that I thought, I think I'll have a show, because I had a gallery and I knew a lot of St. Louis artists and I loved them all, and they were always so generous. You never ask an artist to help out with benefit to donate a picture, and they say, well, I'll give you 3. I mean, they're just wonderful people. We're so lucky that so many of them that graduated from, mostly in the older days, Washington University School of Art, decided to stay in St. Louis, and they've really helped our quality of life. They've taught our children, and so I wanted to do something to thank them, applaud them, and also at the same time show that what they did kept them going. Artists never retire. Their next picture is always going to be their best picture. Their next sculpture is going to be their best. I grew up thinking, well, engineers, scientists, they had it all. They were the brains. But artists are the same way. Their brain just goes in a different direction. Picasso has done his best work in his older years. Matisse made his cutouts when he was in bed as an invalid. Titian could go on and on about the artists that paint, sculpt, do something till the day they die. Also, I've discovered through the work that I've done that sometimes an artist might be able to be a painter at one time, but they get a debilitating illness and they find out maybe that they can't hold a paintbrush anymore. Or they might be allergic to the paint. And they find another way to make art because it's in them. So I decided, getting back to what you asked, that I would do this show, and I approached the Sheldon, and Olivia, who's the executive director, said, oh sure, I think that would be a great idea. So we had this wonderful show. 22,000 people came to see it. We were lucky enough to get it to go to the Mitchell Museum in Mount Vernon, Illinois. We hired a bus, and the artists and I went on a bus together. Some of them had never been in a museum before for their art. So we just had a really terrific time, and I loved every second of it, which made me decide, okay, I'll do another show. Well, actually, one of the artists, Ed Boscia, who's no longer living, and I met through this project, Maturity and Its Muse, the show at the Sheldon, said, I have a lot of triptychs. Would you please do a show of my triptychs? So I said, okay, sure. Well, so I ended up doing a show of a number of St. Louis artist triptychs, and I invited poets over the age of 70, and I paired them up with the artists, so they had to write a poem about the art, and we had that at Regional Arts. And you know, I got so excited that I could do these things and that people in St. Louis would come. So then I went to Craft Alliance. I said, oh, I'd like to do a show here. Could I do a show? They said, oh, okay. And then
it just continued to grow.
And then I in the meantime, I went to the Kemper Museum because there was a show, there was a program in New York called Meet Me at MoMA, at the MoMA, and it was for folks with Alzheimer's and their care partners. And I really wanted to see if we could do something like that here. So I called upon the Kemper Museum at Washington University, and as luck would have it, they got a new director of educational studies 2 days before that, and she was called in. She said, oh, I think it's a good idea. Give me a couple weeks to get settled. And she called and we started it. So it's called CARE, Kemper Art Reaches Everyone.
And that information, as well as a lot of other information, is on the website for Maturity and Its Muse. Maturity and Its Muse is right there to promote positive and productive aging through the arts. So much great work, and as Lynn has talked about it, since the organization was founded, it has grown to have a lot of events throughout the year. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to have more right after this, and we're even going to see a bit of a documentary about the organization. So stay with us.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
G-morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV love you. JK. Holla back, holla back, holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Follow your bliss and doors will open where there were no doors before. And that's true. Because I've followed my interest in art and creativity, I know so many more interesting people, and people of all different ages, instead of just people my age.
And this is my response to the secret garden, which is as you enter this unknown, mysterious door, and then suddenly you're immersed in the tranquil, quiet, safe surroundings of this beautiful place.
What I intend to do this fall is to push my own edges myself. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. And I don't know what I'm going to do. But I know one thing, it's going to be more important than what I've done so far, to me.
Been fully retired for 4 years, and there's just not enough time in the day to do everything I want to do.
I never wrote a poem that I knew how it would end, Robert Frost. And I think that's pretty much the way I feel about it.
So all through your life, you have lots of ends that are not totally tied. I don't think any creative artist will say, I have solved that problem. This is the master of masterpieces. Even Picasso, I think he would like to have one more brushstrokes someplace.
I'm going to do this, and I'm going to accomplish this, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to get on a cruise boat, I'm going to do this or that or the other thing, I'm going to fall in love again.
The whole field of psychiatry has helped me to sort of project my feelings into a piece of wood or clay or metal so that I could get something back out of it again. There's some rebound phenomenon going on.
I can cook a simple meal. You know, I can't fix the car. So the only thing I really know how to do is draw and paint. You know, I never painted a tame picture so the public would buy it. I never painted in a style for a certain gallery because that gallery was selling that style. I always stuck to my guns, you know.
I remember Milovich, one of our teachers, he used to say, squint bunch your eyes and tink while you do. So you squint your eyes and you say, oh, look how dark those bushes are against that light thing back there. You know, you just have all this wonderful knowledge or something in there that just make your life better because you can look out there and say, oh, look how blue those shadows are.
I mean, I wake up in the morning, I mean, the first thing I do is, what am I going to make today? And go from there on. Gets me through the day, doesn't it? That's it.
Years ago, when I was very young, it was very popular for somebody to say, hey man, there are no accidents, you know? And the proper reply was, hey, far out, man. You know, like it was some great, deep, philosophical statement, you know? and then they share a joint.
I've learned that there are no right answers. There are only answers that help you move the ball a yard or two, and then look for another answer, and then so you don't have the total answer.
Thing that you like to do, and you're really involved in it, you're happy. You're not diddling with your interior, and you're not diddling with who said what to me and all that stuff.
It gives me a focus that I guess distracts me from being older. I don't think about it so much. And I don't think about my limitations because I have something I like to do that I can keep doing.
I can't exist without it.
You know, it's still like part of your soul.
Yeah, reason for living. It's the essence of my very existence.
We're so
I'm Sarah Thompson, and welcome back to City Corner. Today we're talking about the topic creative aging, and we're speaking with Lynn Friedman Hamilton. She's the founder and executive director of Maturity and Its Muse, an organization that helps people age productively and positively through the arts. And we were just watching a sizable excerpt there of a documentary that you put together. Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, weren't they great? They're just such special people. When I did the first show called Maturity and Its Muse in 2010, one thing I wanted to do, hope, was to have something that would be retained after the show closed. And I was very fortunate that one of the graduate students at Washington University in the psychology department wanted to take this on, and with a videographer from WashU. And they went about and interviewed all these people, and it's just a wonderful. I think even though it's 6 years old, it's never out of style.
Sure.
Aging is always, we're always going to age, and the happier we do it, the better we're all going to be, and so is everybody else.
Right, we are aging as we speak. We all are. Talk about, before we start to wrap up the show, what you have planned for the rest of this year and even next year.
Well, I'd love to talk about the film series, which is coming up in September. It's called the Silver Screen Series, and we have 3 Mondays in September from 1 o'clock until 3:30 at the Creve Coeur AMC at the corner of Olive and Old Olive. It's a partnership I have with the City of Creve Coeur and the Creve Coeur AMC. The movies are free. By the way, every project that I do is free. There's never a charge for people to come to what Maturity and Its Muse promotes and has. So this series is one film. The first one is October County, Osage County.
Osage County.
And then the second film is going to be Grumpy Old Men, and then the third one is going to be Quartet. And so the first film is a women's film. The second film is guy film, and the third one will be a couples film. And I'm hoping by having a guy film that we'll get more men to come to watch, and they won't always say, oh, it's just for chicks.
Sure. And this is something that's open to anyone to come.
Anyone
can
come.
Okay.
It's free. The doors open at 12:30. After the film is over, if people would like, they're welcome to stay. We have someone from the community that will lead a discussion about the themes that have been in the film. Each week we have someone different, and if people don't care to stay, they're welcome to go.
Okay, and then you started this year, and you're going to do it next year, a big festival.
My youngest baby, is called Celebrating Art for Senior Engagement, and it will be in its second year. It will be from April 20th to April 30th, 2017, and it's all over the city and county. It's not just at one location, and at sometimes maybe at say 10 o'clock in the morning, there might be 5 events that you could choose from what to do. Last year we had 80 events, and I had 60 partners. So each organization that wants to participate can put on their own event that we publicize for them, that hopefully will encourage older people to come out, either that have never been to their facility before, or maybe it might be church people. A church would do something along the theme of aging, arts, and have an art show for their congregation. There's just a myriad of types of events: visual arts, performing arts, lectures, everything.
Right. It sounds like you're very open, from what you're saying too, for people reaching out to you, contacting you to say, hey, this is a group of older adults and we're looking for something to do, or looking for ways to kind of explore this area, and you're there, this organization is, to not just offer these events, but also provide suggestions.
I want people to call. I want people to email. I love that. I love to put people together with people. I like to be a catalyst. I have a number of museums, places that say, we want your people. Would you please bring your people to our place? We want to share what we have with them. So the more people I have, the more people I can bring, and everybody can have a good time, learn something, make decisions, and be happy.
And since you've started Maturity and Its Muse, what has occurred to you differently in the thought of aging? What have you learned about not just yourself, but about aging since you've developed this idea, your baby, into this organization?
Well, I love when people say, it's the self-gratification to me when people say they had a good time, or when they took their husband who has Alzheimer's to an event and they learned that from it, because it's an event that we put on, that they can go out in the community and do other things with their husband. They aren't staying at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I think through all these people, I'm learning things about myself. I'm learning how to be more out there, and it's been a good experience for me. I'm much more patient.
Sure.
I still don't accept that at 71 that's old.
No, it's you're only as old as you feel, and I think what you've shown us is that, and what we've talked about is that there is a way to age positively and productively, and it doesn't mean just because you hit 65, 75 that your life is somehow over. I want to be sure for you at home to share the information so you can learn more about this wonderful organization. It's Maturity and Its Muse. You can go to their website or follow them on Twitter and Facebook. The website's right there, maturityanditsmuse.org. Also, we have the full page graphic about the film series that you can check out coming up just next month in August, September 19th and September 26th. It's a 4th annual silver screen series film celebrating creative aging through the arts. Again, for more information, maturityanditsmuse.org. And Lynn, thank you so much for being here. And I have a feeling, I hope that people reach out to you as well.
I hope so too. I'd love it, and I love being here. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. And thank you at home for watching City Corner, and keep it right here on STL TV. Experience St. Louis.